Hello, this is John Kelly from the Kelly Law Team. I want to talk to you about how you can get the most money out of your whiplash case. How much can I get out of a whiplash case in a personal injury situation? So I have 4 things that I think are key points that you can do. 1, you need to be able to gather your evidence, and that might be the most important point. 2, find the right providers, medical care providers. 3, submit your demand. 4, negotiate and settle. So for the number 1 thing that you need to know to do to get the most out of your settlement is to gather your evidence. So typically with a whiplash, you have an auto accident. Usually it's a rear end type of situation where you're at the scene. You just got rear-ended. What do? You want to make sure that 1, you're getting the information of the party that hit you before you let them leave. And ideally, you would call the police and have them take a report so that the other person can be cited. Gathering the evidence early is very important to establish a claim later on. You want to, if you can, get photographs of the damages and the place that the vehicles were at the time of the accident. You also want to make sure that you're finding any witnesses that might be involved that would be able to help you establish what exactly happened. The next thing that you want to do is start taking notes on your injuries. If you do need to get treatment right away, go to the hospital. If you're in a lot of pain, that's the best thing to do. And if you need to be taken via ambulance, you need to go. So that's sometimes people say, I don't want to go via ambulance. If they're offering it, often they think that you need it. So that's important. So when you find their provider, later on you're going to be needing treatment. So you want to find a provider that is a good provider that would document your case well. And what that means is that they're actually taking accurate notes about what your injuries are. Because whiplashes are typically soft tissue injuries, there isn't always something that's going to show up on an x-ray. If it does show up on an x-ray or a CAT scan, something like that, it would be helpful to help establish your claim. But a lot of times those x-rays will come back and they'll just tell you, look, you have some soft tissue swelling. Those can make chronic pain though, and they can last a long time. And so you need to make sure that your doctor is able to articulate exactly what's causing this pain and pinpoint where it is to best possible. So if you find good doctors that are able to do that, you can question them before they start setting you up with any kind of treatment plan about how they do that. That will give you a good idea of what you're going to have in the end of the case when you do get their notes. The doctors should be doing things like range of motion, checking up on you each time you go in to see how much pain you have, maybe doing follow-up x-ray scans, that kind of thing, send you with exercises. Sometimes massage helps, whether it's physical therapy or chiropractic care or just your primary care doctor, all of them. You want to keep your appointments. You want to make sure you don't miss any. You also want to make sure you take your medications if they're prescribed to you, or at least talk to your doctor about that. If you don't want to take them, that's fine. Some people don't, but just have the doctor know why you didn't want to take those. So then the other part about keeping your notes and your doctor's notes is your own notes, which are helpful to establish your pain and suffering that you're having in the accident. So from the day that you get hurt all the way maybe 3 months later, you're treating. It could be 2 months, it could be 6 months, but you should be taking daily or weekly notes about what you're going through. What are the things in your life that you're no longer able to do? If you were a bike rider and you can no longer ride your bike, or you were a swimmer and you weren't able to swim for 3 weeks, or maybe you had a vacation and you couldn't sit on a plane for that long and it was too much pain, so you didn't go on your vacation. These are all things that you can add to a demand later on that will heighten the ability to get more money for pain and suffering. The final well, the next step, I guess, step 3 is going to be to submit a demand on the insurance company. So this might be a situation where you want to make sure where you stand with the insurance companies. And whether you have an attorney or not, it doesn't necessarily matter. But what you want to know for sure is what kind of policy limits you're dealing with. The person that hits you, what their policy has, what you have in your own policy. And it may be a good idea to at least talk to an attorney about that process to make sure that you're getting everything that's in your policy. So that's something to keep in mind. But put together a document that has all your bills, all your records, the full bills and records, any treatment notes from your doctors, all of your notes. You can, make a summary of your injuries and what you've been through, and submit a demand to the insurance company. Again, if there's liability issues, meaning the insurance company has not accepted liability, or if your injuries are a little more severe, it's a good idea before you do something like this to talk to your attorney, because you have to keep in mind that it's possible that some of the things that you do could be later used against you at trial. So if you're giving statements to the insurance company about your injuries, often it's not necessarily a good idea. With the demand, those can stay confidential typically. They aren't something that usually goes to trial, so you can write that, but it's a good idea to consult with a lawyer first on that. And then typically you want to give them about 30 days to respond to you. And then the final thing 4 is negotiate and settle your claim. So you want to ask for more than you think that you're going to get typically. You want to set your goals of, say, how much you think your claim is worth. You may say, look, I have $5,000 in medical bills. I want $30,000 here, knowing that I'm probably not going to get all of that. But you want to give yourself room to try to negotiate with the insurance adjuster on the case. And then you want to go back and forth with them a couple of times and see if you can get them up to as high as possible. Again, anytime throughout the process, if you're feeling like you have questions, most attorneys will give you a free consultation. If your injuries are a little more severe, it is a good idea to contact an attorney because you may have liens and hospital bills and all sorts of things that can kind of hold up your case and maybe make you potentially make some mistakes. But if you do have any follow-up questions, please just give me a call. It's the Kelly Law Team. You can call me at 602-283-4122.